the trial of Socrates. And in this one, I always say, if you want it, you've got two parts. At one point, Socrates will say, what is the verdict? And the correct response is guilty. Okay? So I say, what is the verdict? You say,
guilty.
And later on I say, so what is the sentence? And you say, death. So what is the sentence?
Death.
Brilliant. Just so you can really bury yourself in this part, get you really enthused, I'll tell you about yourselves. You are the people of Athens. 2 generations ago or so, you took on the mightiest superpower in the world, Persia. And somewhat to your surprise, you beat it. Since when, you've been strutting your way through the Eastern Mediterranean, proclaiming the wonder of your democracy, becoming an imperial power. But then, you know what happened? 2 decades ago, you got involved in a fight with your southern neighbour. A neighbour you have always despised. Now this fight has gone on for as long as anyone can remember. You're heartily sick of it. 2 decades. But now it's over. And you lost. Your beloved democracy was swept aside. Well, that was last year. But this year, there's been a coup. You're a democracy again, but you have no idea how long it is going to last. This might be the very last days of democracy in the world. And you're determined to do something in that time. You see, throughout your trials and tribulations, there's been one. Oh, there's always one, isn't there? Oh, he's bled for you. He's died for you. He's bled for you often. Fought with great bravery. But you've always got a feeling he's been carping on the side. Worse than that, some of his prized pupils ended up as some of your worst traitors. And you're determined to put him on trial in these days of your freedom. But you don't want him to, you don't want to kill him. What you really want him to do is just admit he is wrong. And this is the moment in the trial he stands up. The moment you have to shut up, let him reply to the charges. And you haven't got the foggiest notion what he's going to say. All you're sure about it is you don't really want to listen. So by now you should be feeling properly hostile. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I hope you've all been enjoying the show quite as much as I have. That last speech of Milesius, it filled me with fury at the account of the bounder he was describing and moved me at the plight of the Athenian people. And then I realised it was meant to be about me. Such a pity then, not a word of it is true. What really brought me here, I cannot imagine. I think it must go back to your forefathers' day. My erstwhile friend Aristophanes. He wrote that play about me, in which I appear a burping, farting buffoon, with our paradoxical ability to prove the right argument wrong and the wrong argument right. How I laughed back then, how we all did. But I don't think I'm laughing now, because I think you've mistaken his tawdry farce for this tragedy of ours. Back in those days, my old friend Xenophon, who is dead now, but many of you knew, went off in that questing way of his to the oracle at Delphi and said, "Who is the wisest of men?" Do you know what the oracle said in its gnomic way? "It is Socrates, of course." And when he told me that, I have to confess, I was surprised. You see, I've always thought myself totally ignorant, and I determined, perhaps impiously, to prove the immortal gods quite wrong. I went and I questioned the great and the good in the city, trying to prove they were cleverer than me. They knew things. And do you know what I found? Most of their opinions and all of their actions were based on vanity and ignorance. So I thought, perhaps I shouldn't be too surprised. I'll go and ask the people who I admire most. And I went and asked the poets. And I came to a conclusion quite quickly. I think poetry is written from an instinct that allows you to say clever things you don't understand. So I thought, all right, I'll go to my father's people, the craftsmen. And I questioned them long, but found other than their skill with a chisel, they knew nothing. But by now, I think, I'd started to understand what the immortal gods might mean. I might be the wisest of men, because I alone seem to know that I am ignorant. Now, back in those days, many of my pupils made a nuisance of themselves, questioning the great and the good. And I apologise then, and I apologise now. But that isn't really what you put me on trial for, is it? Let me look at this charge sheet. You say here I have been corrupting, I educate, the youth of Athens and worshipping my own divinities. All right, Melesius, you seem to know all about the youth of Athens. Can you tell me who you think should educate them?
The laws and the people.
What, all of them?
Yes, all of them.
Oh, what lucky little fellows the youth of Athens is to have so many benefactors. They must do really, really well. Hang on a minute, though. Is this really true? I mean, do you train horses by showing them a field of trained horses? Do you make a pot by showing clay a finished amphora? I don't think so. I rather think you entrust the task of education to those who've made it their life's task to study the art. And as for your second charge, I see here you have me down for worshipping my own divinities. But I actually noticed in your prosecution of me, you really think I don't believe in the gods at all, don't you?
None whatsoever.
Then I ask you straight, what kind of madman do you take me for? That you think I believe in things divine, but not divinities? You know what that is like? That's like a lawyer who believes in words, but not in truth. I'll tell you what I think this is really all about. In our recent trials and our tribulations, I've kept my distance. I bled for you, but I haven't been part of your debates. Why? Because I haven't cared for wealth and power in my life. Why? Because I think wealth and power are founded on ignorance and stupidity. Depend upon it. Knowledge is truth. Truth is beauty. Beauty is freedom. So, people of Athens, let me tell you what has always seemed to me. The unexamined life is not worth the living. And it's often seemed to me I was put amongst you by some mischievous sprite or the goddess Pallas Athena herself to be, as it were, your mighty trainer, to teach you how to think, to show you how to be free. And what is my reward? You've put me on trial for my life. So be it. Don't think I'm going to run away or plead for mercy. Why? Because throughout my life, I've had a little voice in the back of my head, call it my conscience if you like, that tells me what to do and how to act. And it tells me I am innocent and I must stay. More than that, it tells me to ask you to look into your own consciousness as you decide what to do with me. What is your verdict?
Guilty.
So be it. Now, by custom, I must think of an alternative penalty to death. One more fitting my actions. Well, I think I've been the greatest trainer you will ever have. So why don't you treat me as you treat the trainers of gladiators? Give me a good supper once a day. I could do with feeding. Am I being flippant? Probably. All right, I'll offer to pay a fine. But my wife and my sons have spent all my money. So I'll pay what I've got in my pocket. There's a few coins there and a dice. Will that do? No? What was that, Plato? Oh, thank you very much. Plato over there is offering to sell his father's farm. Is that enough? Does your father know? Oh, no, he doesn't. Okay. Anyway, Plato is going to sell his father's farm. Is that enough? Will that buy my freedom? What then is your sentence?
Death.
Do not think even now I'm going to look for mercy. Why? Because throughout my life, I have valued things eternal, more truly perhaps than you. And my heart quickens with joy to think I'll go amongst them once more. Remember to sacrifice a black cock to Aeschylus in memory of my life. Thank you, and good night. That's the final scenes from the Apology, the death of Socrates. My second piece from